On the last caller, I heard the guy with the suspenders. This is my first time actually seeing you guys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hopefully it won't be your last. We'll see how the
maybe not. Yeah. I heard the guy with the suspenders say, I feel the vibratory energy resonating today. And I wanted to ask him specifically, what is the vibratory energy? Because, it's to my understanding that an atheist
joke.
No. But it was said, and the guy to the right agreed, as in you guys both felt it. You know what I mean?
No,
but
I know what you mean. So the term is often used by people that are talking about kind of woo, I feel a collective unconscious, etc.
I feel the vibe,
Yeah, there's nothing supernatural or even natural that I would call the vibratory energy. I also said the vibratory energy is resonating well today. And the point is that's language that's used by people that would then talk about sacred geometry and the collective unconscious. And,
Deepak Chopra.
Well, he makes less sense than the people that I'm talking about. He's not quite on their level of consciousness yet.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I said that, I was
he's
not
joking.
actually...
He's joking about
that. It's a series of jokes. In the same way that it will take it will probably be less than a minute after we get off the show and we greet people in the live audience that'll be like, oh, bless you for coming. As a reference to here's the thing we don't believe, but it's pervasive in our society and kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And by kind of, I mean entirely.
And he was trying to illustrate the idea that just even if you don't believe in a God, that doesn't mean that you're free of magical thinking. And that is magical. If you're trying to say that there are unseen forces that are guiding our actions, that's not a thing that we've been able to observe or document.
What I'm saying is, whether you admit it or not, I know you guys felt the vibe.
No, we didn't. And you can talk to us and ask us, but if you're going to accuse us...
Well, to be clear, if I talk about the vibe of a room, I just mean people in this room are happy. So I'm not talking about a supernatural anything. I'm assuming that that's what you meant.
Yeah, that is exactly what I meant.
I don't believe in that.
And I apologize for accusing.
No. You're good. You're good. There was just a little misunderstanding. Yeah, it's not a supernatural thing that I believe in.
Well, and also we're just trying to.
So actually, thank you for calling, so we can clarify this.
Yeah, we're trying to have developed conversations and go through and speak to each other, and so that's all. We're not. I didn't mean to jump down your throat. Go for it, man. What do you want to?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this to my because from my personal experience, I do feel a vibe from somebody. You'll get the vibe of that person doesn't like you, or that person is pretty cool, or, this is a good thing going on. Without even speaking or seeing the person, you'll feel the vibe. And I wanted to, from my understanding and my personal experience from a Bible believer, I'm not... from my understanding, God himself, that name is a derivative from the name Gadriel, is a Hebrew name which means wall. And God Gadriel,
God in the Bible is that name. So Vishnu is a very different name. Yeah. There's lots of gods that people talk about.
But you're talking about
But
you're talking about the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, right? The God who, in the New Testament, is referred to as the Father by Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about something?
Yeah, he could be Ishmael as well. It could be the God of whatever. Sorry. You can tell us what you believe rather than having us speculate wildly.
Okay. Well, what was that last point I was going to say? Okay. To an atheist, you'll say this person is a good person or this person is a bad person, but, to what standards is this person a good person on, or to what standard is this person a bad person on? Because in the Bible, it says, okay, this person should not sin, and these things are sins. And we can all agree that the sins that's speaking in the Bible are bad things, and, there's righteous acts and there's unrighteous acts. So if the Bible has a written set of laws or a written set of, a way of life that's righteous.
Is it though?
And it has the 10 Commandments. Which
okay, let's go through the 10 Commandments. Actually, no, that's a really great place to start.
I want to finish this point.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
The point is, if the Bible has a certain set of laws and a certain, rules of living, and we can all say, okay, according to this book, which we can all agree on are good and is good and is bad, I want to know why not follow that book and that certain set of laws, instead of just holding somebody good or bad to your own personal standard of good and bad.
So I have 2 points. One, you are a person and have a standard that you believe things are good or bad. You have a personal standard of good and bad that, in your words, is informed by the Bible. So you are doing that thing. You are saying, my personal standard is that this is good and bad. And I very much hear you're longing for a neutral or objective reference point for what's good and bad. But I think it would be best to start with, you seem to be operating under the assumption, you seem to be operating under the assumption here real quick, Tom, or Juan, Tom was the last caller, that we can agree that the Bible says good things and that is a good example. And I know that I don't, and I know that Eric doesn't agree with that statement. The Bible is full of a ton of horrendous, terrible, anti-human things.
Could you give me an example?
Sure, the slaughtering of the Amalekites.
Yeah, genocide, instruction from God to his people to commit genocide to take their stuff.
What about America in Syria right now? What about...
Is America in the Bible? Hold on, we're talking about the Bible, aren't we? I'm giving you a biblical example, right?
But people still celebrate Thanksgiving.
Is Thanksgiving in the Bible?
Yeah. Therefore, genocide is okay.
Thanksgiving celebrates the exact same thing you were condemning, but I'm pretty sure...
I condemn that as well. The slaughtering of Native Americans, I condemn as well.
And that doesn't get us to a moral decision, does it? But also, Juan, we're going to pin you on the Bible if we're going to talk Bible.
Yeah. To be clear,
right.
what's important is that you asked us...
I don't want you guys to attempt to trap me in a...
I don't want you to feel like you're trapped, but what you said was the Bible is good. We gave an example of something in the Bible that was bad, and then instead of defending the Bible, and instead of saying, no, the Bible is good, you said, but here's a second thing that's bad.
Yeah,
that's not a defense of the Bible. That's an attack on something else. I don't want you to feel like, oh no, I'm being trapped, or oh no, I should be defensive, or defensively lash out. But if we say there's a bad thing in the Bible, you need to defend that bad thing. If you want to defend the Bible.
As a Christian, you're called to it. I mean, the thing, you actually said it really well.
I'm not a Christian.
Okay. Okay. That's, one thing that we did is...
assumed
that you did.
Yeah. And by assuming, we made an ass out of Eric.
Yes. So when you said, I don't want to be held captive by the Bible, if you're going to hold me to things in the Bible, we agree. We don't think anybody should be held captive by the Bible, and that's why we're here. But if you're not a Christian, what do you believe?
Yeah, where do you hold the Bible?
I believe in the Bible, but people were called Christians in the Bible. The apostles were called the disciples were called Christians in the Bible, but that was what they were called, and they didn't call themselves that. I believe in the Bible, but I don't have to be labeled as a Christian to believe, because there's scientific and historical evidence that everything in the Bible happened.
Not even a little bit.
You don't have to.
Yeah, no, not just the Old Testament, the New Testament as well.
Yeah, there is so little evidence to support so many different claims in the Bible.
And there's so much evidence that contradicts it. Like, do you mean like the global flood, for example?
Adam and Eve?
I mean like everything that happened, like the caves and not the caves, the pyramids.
Does that include the global flood?
Well, yeah, that you can say,
that didn't happen.
It happened in the Bible, yeah.
No. We study, among many other things, rocks. We study our history. We study the history of Earth as best we can determine it, and absolutely everything we find says, no, there wasn't a flood 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. And
that wiped out everything on Earth.
Not only is Earth older than, I don't know, we didn't get to... We didn't get to 6,000 to 10,000 years, but to be clear, the Earth is older than 6,000 years, and so is China.
Yeah, and there are so many weird things in there.
Yeah.
Talking donkeys,
Well,
demons going into pigs, bats being called birds, mustard seeds being called the smallest seeds.
I've seen people talk to inanimate objects all the time. This is nothing new. Like growing up as a child, you'll see someone talking to themselves. And they'll say, okay, this guy is...
That's different than talking to a donkey that talks back with a voice audibly.
Yeah. And
or a snake.
Do you think that someone who's talking to themselves is having a rational conversation or is talking to somebody, or are they talking to themselves? I mean, are we getting to knowledge? Are we getting to truth by listening to people who are hearing voices?
But you can't say whether the voice is okay. It's understood that people do hear voices. And who are you?
And we have a pretty good impression why.
Yeah.
But still in all, this guy heard voices, and people hear voices. So if the Most High, which I believe can send a voice to speak something good, he can also send a voice, or people hear bad voices. So that's not
To be clear, just to clarify, not every voice that a person hears in their head, would you say that every voice that a person hears in their head is a good voice? Presumably, you said people can hear bad voices as well, right?
People hear voices in their head.
Yeah, and are all of those good and from God, or are there people that hear voices in their head that are hearing bad things from these voices?
Well, nowadays I'm not one to say, because I don't know everyone personally. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to say, okay, everyone hears bad voices, and I'm not going to say, okay, everyone hears good voices. I'm saying people hear voices.
Do you mean all people hear voices? I'm just trying to clarify what you mean. This isn't. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, we had a guy call in who said that he heard a bang on his roof, and that was God telling him to do a thing. We have people who say that, I was looking for a sign and I saw 3 numbers a week later, and that was my evidence for God. And then there are people who say, no, I heard an audible voice that told me to do a thing.
That's actually not a good.
No, that's actually something that you should probably.
Yeah, not only should therapy be generally available.
Well, I don't want to stray off the topic too much,
Yeah, we're getting a little bit off, but when you called, you wanted to talk about vibratory energy and assumed that I assumed, understandably,
I heard you guys say
that we believed in something supernatural that was related to that. What is it that you believe in that is supernatural, assuming that you do?
I believe that, back to my point about vibes, I believe that, there's witches, people practice Wiccans and, warlocks and things of that nature. I don't know too much about that, but they all have gods. They all have powers. And the word God is Elohim in the Hebrew, and that word means power. So the vibe that you get from someone, whether they know it or not, is their power, is their God, quote unquote.
Do you think that magic is real?
Well, that magic
it depends on what your perception of. It depends on what your perception of magic is.
Harry Potter. Can somebody do Harry Potter magic in the real world?
I'm not. I haven't watched Harry Potter.
Okay. Okay. Can somebody make a thing float?
Yeah.
Well, the Lord walked on water, so I'm not going to say that one cannot.
Well, so can someone that is Wiccan cast a spell that then affects the world that we live in?
I believe so. And
why?
The words, because there's
live in his world.
There's a lot of examples of a spell. You can say that if you go to a concert and everybody's vibing, you know what I mean? Are you not enchanted?
No, we don't.
I understand the experience that as a a human experience. That is a
You
very
can go to a
powerful
bad
experience.
concert,
It's
or you can
felt
go
in
to a
all different
good
kinds of
concert.
churches as well, and concerts and other various things. It's felt on a personal level. Oftentimes when people listen to music, I know that I can get lost in music or a television show, or even just...
You've been enchanted.
No, my brain
That is an
just,
expression. Do you believe
Yeah.
that there's a supernatural force that's occupying their mind?
I believe not only their mind, but the atmosphere itself has changed.
Why do you...
The vibe.
People change their attitudes all the time. So, for example...
Now, I'm not speaking of, what you personally, I'm not speaking of what you think or how you feel. It's sort of how you feel, but how everything feels around you at the same time.
Yeah, that's how you feel about the things around you.
The vibe of the atmosphere.
Most of your uses of the word vibe can be translated into some phrase of the impression that you get. So the vibe that I feel in a room is the impression that I get of the people's emotional state in that room. The word vibe is shorter.
But before you even see the people, you
can get a feeling
vibe,
about how a room is because different, like you can ask an interior designer, a room will feel more open or more closed, or this, if you get a leopard print couch and a shag carpet and you paint the walls plaid, someone is going to get a vibe of sickness in their stomach when they walk into your room. But
that's the feeling that I get when I look into your
I will fight
drawers.
You. I will fight you.
Sorry,
No.
Juan.
For those at home, I wear a lot of plaid because it's awesome.
Yeah, plaid is awesome.
Yeah. See,
wrong.
see,
Juan,
Juan,
you're wrong in so many places.
You are so right, Juan.
Okay,
you are right. You're right.
So I would actually like to chime in as well.
I've just been converted.
The first is that we can actually observe what happens when you get those feelings. It's your brain dumping a lot of feel-good chemicals, including dopamine, possibly adrenaline.
Yeah, those are the scientific evidence.
But those are not something outside of us. It's not it's not something magical or intangible.
Yeah,
it's something that we can see and observe. And so these examples that you've given, we can test them. I mean, if you were to say, "Oh, I just kind of feel this way," and that was it, but you've made real I'm sorry, I'm from California. I've been doing these impressions.
He almost slipped into the hey man.
Yeah, man. It's nothing on you, Juan. But I have heard a lot of people who do this. I'm spiritual, dude. Yeah. If you're giving a testable example, we will test it, and odds are it's already been tested. And time again, people have tried to test this, and it just hasn't happened. The more you dig, the more you realize, and the more you find that there are no scientifically rigorously tested accounts of magic. You can't have a person who is, Wiccan do a spell here, you see a thing, and then a Wiccan in France does the same thing and the spell works, and you do that in Russia and the spell works, right? It's not something that has been tested and been shown to work.
The word pharmacy is a Greek word that means sorcery. So
does that have any bearing on reality, though, or are you just using the argument from etymology?
No. When I get to if I was to get to my point, I would say, okay, drugs, Adderall. I mean, like not Tylenol, but things that actually give you the feeling of this or that. This is sorcery, and I guess this is sorcery. This is witchcraft. So your perception of magic, sorcery, and witchcraft has been skewed by these Hollywood movies, and you can call it what you want.
So
these things can or cannot be tested. That's why medicine. You can continue, sir.
Oh, it was just medicine can be tested. If when you say magic, you mean like things that are undertaken that are really strong with that, right? Like in that case, then I don't have an objection to the name magic mushroom, I guess. Like, if that's what you mean by magic, like things that change human perception, then being in a room with happy people changes you. Being in a well-designed or laid-out room, seeing a beautiful architecture. I can now admit architecture is a thing.
But what Jamie has done is he's given you a lot of different examples of ways to describe things that are not magical terminology.
There's no reason to believe that any of those things could be caused by a pixie or a leprechaun.
Because when you use those
terms, the line
terms
between science and religion blurred.
No, it's not actually. Test it and you'll find that the line doesn't cross. It's been put forward the terms of non-overlapping magisteria, right? Things that it cannot be tested, which is a cop-out also. But people say that because you can't test for it. And what you do when you do try and mix those things is you put an image in my head of like big pharma being full of wizards, and it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy.
That's exactly what's going on, because sorcery is, like I said before, sorcery is a Greek word that means pharmacy. You can look it up yourself. I can give you the Strong's Concordance. You see, there's things that were perceptions that have been put onto us, like Hollywood. Hollywood is the wand that a wizard would use to cast spells back in those days. The wood was called holly. So therefore, if you was to get everyone on one mind, just like okay,
Alice, we are down the rabbit hole now.
Perfect example. If I can say this, everyone has a perception of black people, but a lot of people haven't come into
Not everyone has the negative impression.
Listen to me. America has a certain way they look at black people, but it's not from personal experience. It's what they've seen on TV. So it's just not a spell that's been cast on America to look at a certain people a certain way without even meeting them themselves. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This is a spell that's been put on you. Therefore, there are witches and there are warlocks. They can change your perception of how you see things.
Okay, so you're really walking a funny line, dude.
Yeah, so to be clear...
But does it make sense?
No.
I need to clarify what you're saying.
Yeah, Jamie,
because I can watch a movie and it can affect the way that I think. And people can watch movies and it can affect the way that they think. But that's psychology. Right? So if you're calling it a spell, are there counter spells? Can we get the wizards from Big Pharma to cast an anti-racism spell to cure America?
Why would they? Yeah, you can because it all depends on what they put out. Okay, if there's a vibe of racial tension between this or that, then you know what I mean? That's what they put out, and you've been enchanted with that. So if they chose to do the exact opposite, then you'll be enchanted with that. So therefore, yes, they can do that. If that's what you were asking.
You have actually left us speechless for the first time in the history of the show. You are like
that's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, you're like a piñata of wild conspiracy. I feel like we're shaking and the goodies just keep coming out. Like we're just.
No, I'm right here for you, Juan. So what it sounds like you're saying is that things change people's minds and impressions, and what I would refer to as subconscious biases and conclusions that guide people's thinking. Right, so people get an impression or come to racist conclusions, and those racist conclusions guide them through life about, if I see a person that's black, I'm going to apply stereotypes. They eat rice all the time and they're bad at driving or whatever it is. But I always get my racism mixed up. Anyway, but it sounds like you're adding something to that I wouldn't add to that, which is it's called magic, and it has nothing to do with the natural world. Am I correct in that, or are you just using the word magic to refer to the kind of impression? When you say
natural world, then you know what I mean.
No,
these things are natural because they are here. If you talk about the things you can see, like with your senses, then you can't really calculate taste. You know what I mean? Like, this is, you know what I mean?
Do you mean like tasting food or subjective taste?
Oh wait, we
like,
stumbled on
furniture?
something
What I'm
good.
saying
That's
is-
the qualia. Like,
Yeah.
Natural is you know, is what's going on in every form. You know what I mean? That's what's here. I don't understand what you mean by the natural world.
So what I'm trying to get down to is, are you saying that people's subjective impressions, so for example racism, are caused by something that is like transcends reality or exists outside of space and time?
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree.
Yeah, there's so much to go. What's
I mean, if you want to,
yeah. I really
say the birth of a nation
want to call you back. I want to have this conversation over a few weeks, and I want to nail down individual things, because this is just a gift that keeps on giving. You, sir, are my gift today.
This has been a very good conversation. It's been a very illuminating conversation.
So,
are you willing to call back again next week? We're not trying to hang up on you now or in the call now. It's just we have other calls. Are you free next week?
Well, I'm not gonna, you know, make any promises. But if I'm on YouTube, if I see you guys, I definitely call in if I have an interest in, you know, something to say. But if you guys want to spend a week together, an argument so you can slam me next week with everything you've researched, and I'm just going about living my life.
To be clear, we're not.
You know what
I entirely understand your concern. We're not going to ambush you with like, oh yeah, we did this research. Now you, without research, give us a response to it.
Yeah, I think general knowledge-wise about the world around us slams you enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I really don't think we need to go that way. I really think that we can have a honest conversation about the way that we look at the world, and we can come to some really important conclusions. But this is your epistemology. Your epistemology is your toolbox that you use to decipher the world around you. Yeah. It's what you decide is how you come to truth. And you're using a couple tools that I have never seen. And I want us to go over those tools. I want to help you with your epistemology so you can know as many true things and as few false things about the world that you're in.
Yeah, well, to be clear, we haven't heard of magic racism before. So I don't want to give you the impression that we're going to we're going to prepare for a battle and smack down Juan, because we do just want to have a continuing conversation because we find this very interesting, which is why we do this show. So I entirely understand your concerns. Don't worry, we're not going to ambush you with research.
He'll keep me honest.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Mm-hmm. I'm an asshole. I'm a bit of an asshole.
Smack him right in the face.
Yeah. But the conversation is good.
Yeah. Also, we can stay in touch in between now and then.
Actually, let's give the info for our show. We haven't done that yet this episode.
That's true. If you would like to, well, here we've talked for like a minute about wanting Juan to call back, so we should probably.
Do you want to have the last word before we move on?
Well,
no. I'm
okay.
fine.
I really do, Juan. I really do hope.
I want to thank you guys for having this conversation and in a positive way. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I'm sure that this is a very difficult conversation for you to have in a positive way with other people.
It's not.
Thank you for calling in. This has been a fantastic conversation. Sorry, I talked over you again. I can entirely understand you trying to have this conversation and it not going well with other people. And I'm happy to have this conversation here on our show.
Yeah,
a lot.
I feel like my career peaked right now. Like I should just quit.
No.
And I'm on a high note. Juan, you take care of yourself, man, and we hope to hear from you soon. Okay.